And we were talking last time about, metaphorical haunted houses and how this house is haunted because of all the memories, and we should probably get out of here just to start anew somewhere. Then part of me feels like I'm giving up. Like, whether I stay here or not, even if I stay here, I should be able to like tough it out. You're saying I feel like I'm losing, I'm quitting. You're saying
it's not called a Pyrrhic victory. Is that the term?
Pyrrhic victory?
Pyrrhic. Phyrric.
Right. Okay.
Like an empty.
Right, a victory at too great a cost. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That kind of struggle or argument, whatever, is just another way to keep you, enmeshed with dear old mom.
Well, I mean, is it just that, or is it the fear of having to move out, or?
Well, that too, of course.
Right.
Fear. The other side of the coin is the fear of being totally reliant on yourself, or okay, you got your brother.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a fear. I want to be self-sufficient, but how can I be self-sufficient in a world where I get strangled, where I get run over, where I get people attacking me on job?
You don't have a choice. You have to get out there. I'm sorry. I wish it was not. I wish there was a way we could put you like in the bubble, like the boy in the bubble.
I don't want to be in bubble. I want to be a normal person.
I know, but this has been your fate, I guess, if you want to call it. And what are you going to do? You want to hide behind Social Security, long-term disability, and then maybe peek your nose out occasionally.
Well, that would be the safe. Well, that would be the safety net. I'm not saying I wouldn't work. I could still work.
Your brother, you got a safety net. Your brother's a safety net.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to rely on him. Plus, I need to.
Well, you're already relying on him.
True. Still.
Hey, you could, like I said, go for it. See if you can convince them to give you a disability. I don't think they will.
Why do you say that? I'm curious.
You're not to tell them that you fear that you're going to be assaulted.
No, not that.
Yes.
Well,
it comes down to that.
But no, but I have autism. You saw my diagnoses. I have all those, that slew of.
Then get a lawyer and give them the report and see what happens.
Okay. All right.
If they asked me, if somehow they sent me a request for my input, I'd probably say I don't know. I can't say one way or the other.
All right.
That's the best I could do.
Okay. No, it's at least you're being honest. I do appreciate it.
I'm being generous because I'd really like to say no, he's not, but I would say I can't seem to discern that.
How many of your clients were strangled by a rando in a liquor store or run over by some nigger bitch? It's not just a one incident. I've had multiple incidents. It's like clearly something's wrong with me. You say I'm normal, but yeah.
No, I mean, the only thing, we've been able to, and your brother, and even your mother have been on this, this idea that you're kind of a provocateur. Now, those two incidents, should they have amounted
to that? Did the punishment fit the crime? No.
Get it. I still don't get that, especially the guy with the thumbs on your throat. I still don't get that scene.
I don't either. Yeah. Right.
So all of this time since you had your artery problem, you've basically been in the house.
No. The artery problem happened Christmas of 23. Eventually that summer I got the job.
Oh, that was a delivery. Sorry. Okay.
Auto parts. Yeah.
Delivery job.
Right. And then the guy threatened me. And
all right. Since they fired you.
Yeah. Again. Yeah.
That track record is like something to be admired. I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's why I want.
I'm jealous of it.
That's why I want my Social Security disability as a safety net. But in case this keeps happening, I don't want to get fired or
Don't tell me. You got to go tell the board, whoever does it.
Okay.
It's possible, if you're lucky, they might give you short term and say, all right, we'll give you like, 6 months or something, go find a job and let's hope nothing happens to you. Why are you laughing?
That's the best I can hope for. Temporary. I got the unemployment temporary.
I can't speak
got
for them. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking.
the disability when I injured myself. I've got a bunch of. I got like temporary short term. You're saying the best I can hope for is just short term bursts here and there. Okay.
It's just my opinion. I don't know anybody on I don't know their decision makers. I don't know how they think.
All right.
I mean, I think it is puzzling. I think some people get it who don't deserve it, and I think other people who probably do deserve it don't get it.
Right? No, I think that's.
And then there's of course those who probably deserve it and do get it, but there's definitely injustices either way, I would say.
But in your opinion, I don't deserve it, is what you're saying.
Well, again, I don't even like to use the word deserve.
Well, you just use the word deserve. Yeah.
Appropriate, like you'd be an appropriate candidate. I don't think you're. It's actually a compliment. I mean, I'm basically saying I think you can function well enough that you'll be okay.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like if they tell you it's not a kidney stone, that would be a good thing. And also if they tell you, that not only wasn't it a kidney stone, but you have no stones that are potential problems. Like you're clear, you're good. That would be a nice thing. That's good. That you could hope for that.
Okay.
You want me to say something else?
Well, I mean, I may come across as quote unquote normal, but my experience has been so abnormal. And like I said, if it had just been one incident, I'd say that was a freak occurrence. I
just don't think it'll be convincing.
When the pattern keeps, forget about that. When the pattern keeps repeating, I'm not going to say, look, here's what happened. Give me my disability for that. What I would say is something is clearly wrong with me, and that something would be autism, the PTSD, the avoidant, all that stuff together, the ADHD. I would imagine it would all be bundled together to make me different than the average person, regardless of how I come across to you.
With ADHD, I don't remember.
Yeah, it was among them. Oh yeah, it was. I sent you the forms, man. I sent you the forms. It was autism, ADHD, PTSD,
she just threw it all against the wall.
No, she wouldn't give me obsessive compulsive because even though I have obsessive thoughts, she said because you don't have a ritual, she refused to give me OCD. I told her, don't.
I think she's wrong there. OCD, even thoughts are considered a behavior.
Well, yeah, I had intrusive thoughts, but she said because there's no ritual, I can't officially diagnose you with that.
I don't know. I'd have to check.
So you're saying the neuropsychologist is just a hack who just gave me a bunch of random diagnoses? Is that what your argument is, or?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not being, I'm not being fair, but ADHD based on what? It's very hard to diagnose ADHD. She gives you a giant battery of tests, and she comes up with ADHD too. The gold standard for ADHD is the Connor scales, as far as I know, unless they changed it, which is basically you need three. You got to give these questionnaires to three different people who know you, three independent observers, and to get their opinion and see whether they correlate. That's I believe the gold standard now. That's with children. I'm not sure about adults. I don't, because it might be because usually you get a teacher, and then you get a parent, and then you'll get like some other observer, and you see if there's a correlation amongst the three observers, independent observations, to see whether you meet the criteria. But with an adult, I don't know. I know they have computer tests. I don't know how valid they are. For ADHD. So I don't know what she gave you that gave her the impression you had ADHD. You don't seem hyper, and you seem like you're pretty well focused.
Well, that's part of the stereotype. ADHD isn't you're jumping up around, up and down in your chair necessarily.
No, but the focus is usually the most important part. It's like, are you that easily distractible?
Well, you see all the stuff I haven't accomplished. I didn't clean that bathtub. The house is a mess.
It could be a million other reasons. People, the autism and the ADHD those are like now have become so undifferentiated almost. Like it's like anything that will be attributed, I wink too much. It must mean I'm autistic, or, like people come up with all kinds of reasons why they're either autistic or have ADHD. Everybody thinks they have ADHD. If so, maybe ADHD is a part of the, just human existence then. because our minds do wander. Our minds, because the mind's always processing all kinds of things, multiple processing. So I'll tell you, I think I said this, in my whole career, there was one kid I had for a while. That kid, if there's such a thing as ADHD, that kid had it. That kid was unbelievable. But that's the only person I ever came across, I thought, really.
Well, he couldn't sit still, or
could not stay focused. It was more about focus, but he was also pretty fidgety too. But it was the focus. He was just all over. You could not capture his attention for more than 3 seconds, and he was off, somewhere else. There was something really neurologically impaired there, I think.
I see. But he was a child, right?
Yeah.
Well, when who knows what he's like now as an adult? He might be like me.
He's probably incarcerated now. I don't know. But who knows? Well, people with ADHD, a lot of them end up. Well, again, if it really is a thing, a lot of them end up incarcerated because they're.
I almost ended up arrested for that pool thing. You remember that?
Yeah, but to me, that was just pure, unadulterated bad judgment. It was like you were intentionally trying to push the limits as far as you could. You were getting some weird kick out of it, I think. I don't think it had anything to do with, that pure passivity. I think it was more choreographed. It was more intentional.
That girl
was your weird way of trying to flirt with her, probably.
That girl was gorgeous. When else would I get a chance to be so close to some young brown-skinned thing? But I didn't violate any laws, and yet the only reason
if you'd get a shirt, a tie, and a jacket, you'd go to some club somewhere, maybe, or whatever they wear these days, and maybe you'd meet somebody. You would. I bet you would.
Okay.
You would strike up a conversation. You're a good, conversationalist. You would meet. I know you'd meet somebody. Whether you could hold on to them is a whole other story. But as far as meeting somebody, I don't think you'd have a problem.
I see. But I don't know, all those other weird incidents I've had that I've had experiences that no one else has had. I've had multiple times. And it's not just what happened to me that no one seemed to care.
I think you don't live in the hood because for sure you'd be dead.
Yeah, but in that case, at least there's an explanation for it. Me, I'm getting this kind of treatment in suburbia, which makes no sense. And it's like there must be something severely wrong with me if I'm getting hood treatment in the suburbs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, that's where the Social Security disability comes in. Where I think, well, at least I have my
I'm the wrong person to convince. You got to.
Well, you're one of many. I got my neuropsych. I got a psychiatrist. I can get a whatever. You're my psychologist, my regular shrink. I figured, I've seen you for a couple of years now. You're one of the.
Well, excuse me. If there are any subtleties to diagnosing autism, they're beyond my, my
Well, no, I don't need you for that. I've already been diagnosed. The neuropsych took care of that. So I've got my the priestess, the high bishopess from the church.
I think I told you, if I ever did get one of those, if they ever asked me for some kind of evaluation, I would say this guy definitely has a problem maintaining interpersonal relationships. There's just a history of a breakdown in his ability to maintain interpersonal relationships. Sometimes his social judgment is, I don't know if I'd use the word impaired, but somehow he does have problems with social judgment and boundaries, and he'll say things or state things that sometimes people find off-putting. And so in that case, you might say there's some kind of social impairment, but in other ways, he's highly functional. His intelligence, his ability to follow rules, he gets things, he understands things as far as following instructions. He does have a problem with authority figures and at times can be oppositional, stuff like that. And what they make of that, if they say, okay, that's enough, good for you, and all the more power to you. But if they don't, I don't know what else I could say.
Well, my question.
I wouldn't put, when they ask for a diagnosis, I would not put him autism.
Well, I already
or ADD.
Well, I've already been diagnosed with those things. My question to you is, if not autism or ADHD, what explains these social interpersonal problems you're talking about?
I mean, I don't know. I have to check. Actually, I don't remember. There's something like that you can diagnose kids with oppositional defiant disorder.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you're a case of adult oppositional defiant disorder, but I'd have to check. I don't remember if that
Well, let me
applies.
know for next time. I'm curious. You don't have to actually officially diagnose me. I'm
You can
curious
look it
if
up yourself.
well, I want you. No, you're my shrink, and you brought
ODD,
it up.
oppositional defiant disorder, ODD. Look it up. I
Okay.
don't want homework. I don't got enough to do. Believe me, I got enough stuff. I don't
I
want.
mean, as your
You look
client,
it up.
as your client.
Don't put it on me.
No, what do you mean?
You're
Put it on
smart.
you. You're the shrink, man. This is your domain. You're the
I'm
priest.
not
I tell you.
right now as we're talking. I'm not obligated to diagnose. To see whether you have ODD.
I didn't say diagnose. I'd say, okay, here's what it officially. Since you brought it up, I'm the doctor. I brought it up. You
I'm
can
handing
tell me.
it over to you as a possibility. Why don't you take it?
Well, you could elaborate
run
on what
with
this
it?
possibility is, because why else am I talking to you? I mean, that's like an asshole, but Christ, okay, fine. ODD, you
And
say?
you tell me.
All right, I will look up ODD.
Give me a report, whether it fits your personality, characteristics, whatever. Oppositional defiant disorder. The question is, it's not so much whether you have it. I think you do have those characteristics. I think does it apply to adults? I'm not sure. It's definitely a childhood, disorder, but I forget whether you can apply it, after a certain age, like after age 8 or something, do you apply? Hold on. Let me see. Wait a minute. My computer's very slow today. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Wow, it's really slow. Oh man, what is going on? Come on. Yes, adults can have oppositional defiant disorder. ODD is a behavioral disorder characterized by persistent patterns of defiant, irritable, and aggressive behavior towards authority figures. While ODD is typically diagnosed in childhood, it can persist into adulthood in some cases. But can you diagnose this? Can you do a diagnosis on an adult with that? But you tell me what you think. Adults with ODD may exhibit symptoms such as frequent anger and irritability, defiance of rules and authority, argumentativeness, resentment and bitterness, aggressive behavior, difficulty with relationships. Um, um, anyway, I think I said enough. I'm just not sure. Okay, well, I'm going to look up one more thing. Hold on. You're so quiet.
I'm waiting for your. It sounds interesting. You got something? Yeah. Okay. So, what would cause this?
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
You just said I was being quiet. I want to,
I know. That's true. Yeah, it says it can be diagnosed in adults, especially if symptoms persist from childhood and go untreated. Usually it appears in childhood between 8 and 12. Some individuals may outgrow it with proper treatment. Others experience persistent symptoms into adulthood, particularly if the disorder remains diagnosed and untreated. Okay, so it's diagnosed with a pattern of at least four symptoms across any category: angry, irritable mood, frequent temper loss, defiance, refusal, etc., for at least 6 months.
quite frankly,
it has to occur with people other than siblings. Hold on one sec here. One sec. I should get paid extra for this.
We're doing your job. I mean, this is your domain.
See, there you go, right there.
This is your domain. You're the shrink. I mean,
so disrespectful. Unbelievable.
Oh, Christ! It's like you're the psychologist.
Read this stuff. Read what I just sent you.
Adult symptoms in adults, ODD, something that disappeared on me. I don't know. Oh, adults with ODD. There's a whole bunch. In adults, it can manifest arguments, defiance, rules, irritable, argumentative demeanor, difficulties in relationships. Adults, it is important to note that adults with ODD are more likely to experience difficulties with friendships, romantic relationships, and employment due to their challenging behaviors. Well, quite frankly,
that applies in any way to you?
I think it does. Not to me. The people who've attacked me. That random weirdo, former coworker, strangles me in a liquor store. Nigger bitch, die! And she's trying to run me over in a parking lot. They sound like ODD to me. These people who attack me, I think they pick up on that uncanny valley. Something is different about me. They don't necessarily know what autism is, but they can tell I'm different. And I draw in these ODD types. Like I always, should I go back to the,
I think I'm going to add it to your diagnostic list, though, ODD. I don't have it on there, but I'm going to add it.
You think I have ODD?
I do.
Why do you think that? I'm not one of the hostile ones. I'm like being defensive, because the hostiles come after me. You know what I mean? We've been over this. Now all of a sudden I'm ODD. Well, what else is on my list? What else have you given me?
Hold on.
Is this going to count against me if I try to apply for Social Security disability?
Is what?
Being ODD.
No, I think it might help, actually.
Oh, really? Okay, then in that case, give it to me.
I think. I'm not
negate my
I can't guarantee, but hold on a sec. Computer's so slow. Let's see. Okay, I have you with chronic PTSD. And what else?
You and the neuropsych.
I put intermittent explosive disorder, and I think I'm going to add ODD.
Well, you and the neuropsych agree with the PTSD.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
No,
if what you told me is true, that makes total sense. It makes total sense. How could you not have it after what happened to you? I did add ODD.
Okay.
That's 3 diagnoses. Usually, most people have just 1.
Well, yeah. Hey, before you criticize the neuropsych, she's just handing out diagnoses. Now you're doing the same thing. If you think about it, you're kind of a hypocrite. I'm pointing it out. Yeah.
I guess I am. What can I do?
Maybe she was the same. Maybe she's like, wow, I usually just diagnose 1 or 2 things. You're so fucked up. I can give you 5 or 6 things. Same thing with you, doctor.
I don't know. It's funny. It just all crystallized. It just came together right now for me. And I say, this guy's really seems like he's got, maybe because you're an adult, so I don't think in terms of ODD in an adult, but in your case.
But how would you know if it's ODD? Because if I wasn't diagnosed as a kid, this could be in response to the PTSD. My ODD, maybe when I was 8 to 12, I wasn't ODD. It came about as the way I was treated as an adult.
I don't think it's a requirement. I think it's just saying it's typical that it's going to start around then. But the thing is, you never did you annoy teachers? Did teachers give you a lot of detentions, or did you get into trouble a lot?
I wouldn't say a lot. I probably did piss off a few teachers, but no, I wasn't really challenging. Teachers didn't like me because I was a weirdo. I don't think I was overly defiant towards them.
Okay.
Not that I recall.
Well, I guess you're a late bloomer. That wasn't funny, right?
Well, I think I'm autistic, and after being treated like shit all my life, I think oppositional defiance is just par for the course of how I've been treated by, I'm just saying,
You're saying it's secondary.
Secondary, yes. Yes, I think it's secondary. But if it's going to help, another notch on the belt for getting a disability. Hey,
well, the reason it came to mind was when I was giving you that like verbal oral like a profile thing. I was thinking, all this trouble with other people and, people getting annoyed with you. And, it's like, and then being defiant, like don't vape. He keeps vaping. Don't do this. He keeps doing it. Don't stop and get a coffee, whatever, it's like, so there's this thing with authority figures you like, I don't know if you like, but you seem to try to defy, like you make your own rules. Not like a criminal would do, but still enough that you get on people's nerves, especially if somebody's, let's say you have a boss who's like on the uptight side.
I've had many of those. I've had many such bosses, as you know.
They feel insecure about their authority, right? So then if you start like doing a little chipping away at their authority, if they're going to start, especially if they're very insecure, they might overreact and say, this, I can't deal with this guy. He's driving me nuts. Like he's going to, people will lose respect for me because he's doing it. So other people are going to start doing it. And, and then he figures like, I got to get rid of him. That's it.
No, you might be right. That's a interesting theory. I disrespect their authority because I see the inherent flaws that they're not these great authority figures they think they are. If they were, I'd respect them. The disrespect comes to the point that I think they're not up to the snuff. Those insecurities really are there. They're really not as respectable as they want to be. And I'm just pointing out the obvious.
But again, it's like it's not your place to decide who you're going to respect. If you don't respect them that much, then you need to quit. But you can't expect to have your cake and eat it and say, well, fuck this guy, I'm going to do what I want anyway, and not expect to there be pushback. I mean,
well, if he wants to fire me, he can fire me.
That's your narcissism.
No. See, here's the problem. No, I'm a narcissist now. Okay.
I might add that too. I'm going to be like the other person, the neuros. It's like I keep adding to the list.
Keep adding to the list. Hey, you criticized her for that, but now here you are giving me a whole laundry list. But it's separate. It's like two different denominations.
Maybe she's onto something. I just have my own diagnosis that don't necessarily apply to her, what she says.
I always say it's like the Church of Modern Medicine. I guess we have like two different denominations. You guys disagree, but you're doing the same thing, just differently. You disagree on the dogma, but you're doing the same thing. Give me well, I thank you, Father. No. We say no. See, if the boss wants to fire me, fine. He doesn't like me, he can fire me. I'll respect that because he's the boss. I gotta leave. It's when you have what I always called secondhand hatred. You've got these side people who get involved. Yeah, right. It's like it's between me and the boss. Who the fuck are you? It's that's where so many people want to jump on the bandwagon. That secondhand hatred. The hostile. It's like this is their time to shine, and I'm like.
Yeah. Well, also maybe it's a way of sucking up to the boss. It might be all political. Like, okay, I know what side to take. I'm not going to take. I'll get fired too. So, right? I mean, think about it. Just practical. It's pragmatic people.
I can understand them avoiding me, but to like get involved and be like the boss's henchman. That's where.
No. I see where you're going. And okay, I can see that. Right? Stay out of it. Okay.
Right.
Unless you pissed him off too, like you did piss off that big guy.
Yeah, but he's not the fucking boss, so who cares if he's pissed off? But
the boss was against you too. So
yeah, true.
What was it? You need. It's like it pays not to burn bridges if you can avoid burning bridges.
I can't. Hence, why I want Social Security disability. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's part of the therapies. How do you make bridges? How do you become an engineer and you build bridges?
Well, you're supposed to help me. Okay, so if you can't let me build a bridge, then you get me the supplemental tugboat to go across the river or something, the ferry boat. Because if you can't help me build the bridge, then the next step is to make sure you have that safety net. The ferry boat would be Social Security disability. So either you help me build a bridge, or what do you think?
Anyway.
No, not anyway. What do you?
No, I'm not going to answer that. I mean, it's you're trying to get me. You're trying to get it in writing that I'm going to 100% support you.
No, I'm asking you to think and theorize because building a bridge would be the best alternative. What happens if the bridge can't be built? There needs to be a plan.
Well, first of all, I look at it as you can get better at building bridges. You don't have to keep burning them. That's the therapy part. Is you learn from the errors of your way so that you don't keep making the same mistakes.
Okay, all right. Well, All right, it's interesting. So you've given me a new diagnosis. I'm diagnosis. I'm oppositional defiant. Yeah, you added to the what's the rest? I'm PTSD. What was the other one?
Explosive, whatever it is, intermittent explosive disorder,
Right. And now I'm
which I witnessed.
right, and I'm now
It's your sister and your mother.
yeah, and now I'm oppositional defiant disorder. Okay, this is great. Plus all the stuff the neuropsychologist gave me. So
The intermittent explosive disorder, I'm thinking maybe that may be reconsidered. Maybe I would drop that. I don't know. I think you have very specific triggers, like it's familial. I think you control yourself. You seem to be able to basically control yourself outside, although you did use the C word on that woman, which was totally.
She deserved it. She was a cunt, but that's a whole other story.
But that you don't do it anyway. That's where. That's what the difference between you and Joe Schmo average.
No, that was a one-off. I said, I don't care if I get fired. This bitch from the other place, she's such a twat when she's locking me out of the store like that. I said, fuck it. If I get fired, I don't give a shit. I didn't expect the police to show up, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, she deserved, and I knew it was quote-unquote wrong. I said, for once, it's my turn to be wrong.
If you convince yourself, like you give yourself all these green lights that say, I am now totally justified. I don't give a damn about anything. I'm going to do it. Not good. You never got a case of road rage, did you?
No, I don't think so. I might say, "What's this motherfucker doing?" But I don't think I have road rage.
Right. It's not like you're gonna like slam on your brakes, and like challenge the guy to a fight or something.
No, nothing that intense. I'm the guy who's probably gonna get shot for pissing someone off. I've been strangled. I've been almost run over. At some point, I'll probably piss someone else off on the road and they'll shoot me. I'm the victim here, and you keep making it sound like I'm the aggressor. I'm. This is me, man. I'm just.
Well, you could be both.
No, I don't. I think my aggression is in response to having to deal with those who come after me first. You know what I mean? But
I'm out of time.
I see. I guess I'm going to see you on Friday, correct?
I have you down for 2 p.m.
Sounds great.
All right. Yeah, go get that CAT scan ASAP so you don't have any excuses not to work.
That's the reason, so I can go back to work. Great. Okay, wonderful. Go back to all this bullshit.
No, I mean, find out.
The dude who wants to strangle me, the nigger bitch who wants to run me over, the guy who wants to break my jaw. Okay, I'll go back to work. Who wants to kill me next? Okay, let's. Okay.
Wow. Okay, I'll see you. Nobody's going to kill you.
I don't know. It's happened at least twice now, and a threat of a third, so you never know. Third time's the charm, but we'll find out. You come to my funeral, and you can just shake your head and say, I tried. He was too oppositional. He was too defiant.
All right. Take it easy. I'll see you Friday. Okay.
Okay.
Bye. What a stare.